Welcome back, everybody. The students have gotten the repair of the coolant leak on that Expedition wrapped up. The Avalanche over my right shoulder has the transmission installed and ready for a test drive. The Z1R over my left shoulder has the whole back end pulled apart, ready for some paint and some installation of some new parts. And our Mustang is being masked off under the hood in preparation for primer. We've also got some interesting footage to share with you on the 48 Chevy build. Next week there won't be as much student footage as I'll be going out to Las Vegas to the SEMA show. I will not be joined this year by the engine team like I usually am, as we'll be going to the Indianapolis show in December. But I'll be going out there next week to do a little networking and checking on new products and seeing if we can pull some more support and sponsors for the 48 Chevy build, along with some of the other projects that we do. Thanks for tuning in.
With the intake installed and torqued down, the students get busy putting the top of the engine back together, and that includes a new thermostat and gasket. Here the students are putting on a film of oil on the O-rings for the injectors before installing them into the engine. With all of the injectors in place, the students now put on the fuel rail. Next goes the alternator, and then the throttle body. And then after hooking up all of our vacuum lines, we will do a pressure test to make sure that the coolant leak has been repaired. Our cooling system is holding a steady 13 pounds of pressure, and clearly no more leaking where it was originally, or nor anywhere else in the engine. So this vehicle is ready to go back to the customer. With the replacement transmission in place, they get busy putting the transfer case back on, installing a new gasket.
Going up. Watch the gasket. Keep going. You want to go forward now?
Here the students are putting the cross member back in place.
Alright, push it towards me. Nice. Ready? Okay. Alright, now.
The students are punching out 2 broken fasteners from the exhaust to put in new hardware.
Alright.
Topping off a little bit of transfer case fluid, and then putting in transmission fluid, and then this vehicle will be ready for a test drive. Here Eric is removing the rear axle so he can remove the tire and wheel. The rear brake caliper comes off as well. Now he's removing the shocks, and then he'll remove the rear lighting. Now the center stand, which will probably not go back on. Next, he removes some of the inner fender plastic. Lastly, the battery box and some of the wiring, along with the rear wheel master cylinder.
Is that the last one?
Here the students are taking out the front shocks as they're going to be replaced as well. Since the driver's side fender was already removed to replace door hinges, we decided to take off the passenger fender to make a cleaner job.
The students have done a great job of marking all of the fasteners and components from the underhood of that Mustang, so that when we start putting it back together in a few weeks after it's painted, there'll be less confusion.
Here the students are finalizing their cleaning before we begin to prime. Carefully moving it to the back part of the shop in preparation for primer. Here we're painting the pitman arm and the two tie rod adjusting sleeves. Here the transmission is being cleaned up before priming and painting.
I think it's just from when we set it down in the water.
Here we're applying some self-etching primer before putting on the base coat.
With the transmission cleaned and primed, I'm laying a base coat of silver. With the silver laid out, I'm spraying a few coats of clear.
This piece of the end of the torque tube has parting lines in it, and we're going to get those cleaned up so we can make this look like the rest of the drive shaft. We've already got a good start on it. As you can see, this side, we've already got the majority of it filed and belt sanded, so we need to finish it up, but we're going to begin filing on this side right now. The transmission is painted and clear coated and looks really good. The students made a good choice in deciding to paint it silver. The contrast between the green frame and the white engine is going to make this transmission stand out.
Next time on Bulldog Builds, we should have the underhood of that Fox body primed, and we'll have a little more work done on the rear of that Z1R. But remember, I'll be coming to you next week from SEMA, so I'll have some video and some information to share from there. See you next week.